What is up, everybody? Today is a happy day. The patch finally came out, and we got to see all the changes that we just have been waiting for, and some that we have not been waiting for. So I'm going to go over a lot of the changes, not all of them. You guys can check out the patch notes. There's certain things that we found that are also not in the patch notes, and I'll show you guys some of those. And overall, I'm pretty happy with this. So the first thing is that they announced the raid. It's coming out Friday at noon. If you guys don't believe me, there is a trailer out, and you can see the exact time of the raid by heading over to the helicopter at the White House. If you go up to the helicopter and press F on it, I'm assuming that's where we're gonna start the raid, is this helicopter, because you go and talk to this lady, and there it is. Raid is coming as free DLC. 2 days, 1 hour, and 11 minutes. Eastern time, that's noon. So that would be 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern time. Thursday, the 16th for the raid, guys. It's 8 players, and I'm going to be in a competition for it. We've got our team together. We'll see how it goes. There's money involved. I hope I win a lot of it, so wish me luck. If you're curious about a raid build, I recently put up my raid build video. It was pre-patch, so some of the numbers aren't the same, and it's held strong. It's exactly how I wanted it. It's exactly what I thought it was going to be, and nothing changed. The only thing is I got to just roll, more armor onto it and whatever, so I'm not going to actually make any changes to the raid build video because it held solid. Next thing that they announced is there's a new apparel event. It's not live yet. If you go to your apparel, you won't see the new stuff yet. You won't get the new keys yet. That'll come out with the raid, all those new outfits and stuff. So that's pretty cool. There's a new crafting vendor. If you guys are not aware, she's over here. Her name is Inaya, and she sells blue and purple blueprints for skills. Unfortunately, no generic mods or any blue or purple mods for gear, which is what we needed a lot more than these, but we could get into that some other time on how I think that this was kind of pointless. But she also sells other blueprints. I believe she's going to have like a daily blueprint there you can buy and whatnot. So check her out every day and make sure you buy any of the blueprints she's selling. I'm just going to buy all of these just so that I have them and they're out of the rotation. And anything new I will buy every day. They moved the blueprints from the vendor over here to her. So I know there's some people having some issues finding like the Gear Score 500 blueprints. I believe they're sold by her now. And if not, maybe it's a bug. I'm not certain. I already have all of them. Another new change to the crafting is that all exotic items upgraded through crafting will get maximum gear score of the current crafting bench tier. So you'll get 500 gear score now instead of, 490s and stuff, I believe. Wonder if it says that in the blueprints. Now, let's see. They do still say 490 there. Oh, these upgrade ones are 500. So that's good news. I still haven't crafted my Liberty yet, my first one. So when you upgrade it, it will be guaranteed 500 now. I know some of them were upgrading to 490, and that's not very cool. So that got fixed. Okay, so gear got retroactively changed. I'm sure if you logged in and noticed, your health and armor is way up. So blue attributes, not all blue, just armor and health attributes got severely increased. It wasn't by double, but I don't know. It looks like it was like 60% or so. Something like that. I think this used to have like 17,000 armor on it, 18,000 armor, and it's now 27,000. Some pieces look like they nearly doubled. Some pieces look like they just got around 50, 60%. I'm not exactly certain. I should have wrote down numbers, but it's up a lot. And you can transfer this stuff. I'll show you in a little bit about the recalibration changes. So keep in mind, your armor and your health rolls are going to be much higher. You're really going to notice it on your backpacks and your chests. Like I've got some that have, 40-something thousand. Let's see if I can find one offhand here. It's probably in my stash, but yeah, you can get definitely into the 40,000 health and armor on your backpack and chest rolls. Oh, rip. Another thing. Oops, I just alt-tabbed. Sorry about that, guys. Another thing is armor percent and health percent is rolling on gear. I'm not certain all the places. I know chests can get either. Holsters, I've been told, are getting armor percent. I haven't found any yet. I've just been messing around with my builds and changing stuff around. I haven't farmed anything new. I believe you can get health percent on your mask. Backpack should be able to get health and armor. I saw armor regen on gloves. I'm not sure if we can get health percent on holsters, but we will see. So that's pretty cool. Unfortunately, it seems like the issue on the PTS is still there, where old gear, as far as I have witnessed, can't get those new things rolled onto it. I'm assuming the game doesn't have them in the stat pool, and it's treating it almost like it's a red or a yellow attribute or something. And from what I've been told, you aren't able to roll the new like health or armor percent rolls on old gear. That may not be true. That may get fixed. We'll see. Let's see what else changed here. We've got gear set changes. The hardwired ongoing directive both got changed a little bit, but I think more importantly, the True Patriot got changed. This might be a very useful build for the raid. It used to take 4 seconds for each cycle, meaning that it would take 12 seconds to fully stack up an enemy with red, white, and blue. Now it only takes 6 seconds. Shorter amount of time between them, but you can fully stack an enemy in 6 seconds now. And this full flag has been reworded. It now says anyone dealing damage to an enemy that has the debuffs will deal 25% of their damage to other nearby enemies that have at least one of the debuffs. It used to just apparently be the person using True Patriot, which isn't very good. This is much better now, and it's said that this is 50% in the patch. Hopefully we get some confirmation that this is just a UI bug, and this 25% is actually 50. If not, that kind of sucks, but it's still a pretty good piece of gear for the raid. I think the 6 piece I think is going to prove pretty valuable, because you're going to be debuffing their damage, you're going to be restoring armor when you shoot them, you're going to get cooldown reduction when you shoot them, and you're going to be doing extra AoE damage to anything around. Imagine, having Nemesis shoot enemies that have enemies around. 50% of that damage is going to get dealt to the other enemies. I think this is going to be really good for the raid. And I know our raid group is planning on having 2 True Patriots in the group. I also recommend checking out the changes. I'll go over it in a little bit here to the LMG Pestilence. It got buffed drastically. I think it'll pair really well with True Patriots. And there I go, alt-tabbing again. That might have just messed up, but hey. So, next, loot containers. They are now resetting at a preset time of day. I don't know what that time that is, but that's good news for anyone that was trying to get like keys or chatterbox parts or just loot containers in general. It was 24 hours from the last time you opened them. Now it will be, at the same time every day. That's really cool. Another change is ammo drops should be a lot more frequent. We shouldn't be running out of ammo like we were. I know a lot of times I've ran out of ammo, especially on the PTS. It was a serious problem. But I haven't played yet, but from what I've heard, ammo is dropping much more frequently. Dark Zone contaminated loot now drops at your gear score. Not the gear score you have equipped, but the gear score that you have max. So if you have 500 pieces in your stash or inventory, you will be only getting 500 gear score items from the Dark Zone contaminated loot. Also, heroic difficulty mission bosses, stronghold bosses, bounty bosses, and heroic control points. It's the level 4 control points. Their containers will also guarantee gear score 500 as long as you've reached 500 gear score. And just so you know, you don't need to wear the gear score 500 stuff. I know some people think this is what you need to do, but that is not what you need to do. They changed some NPCs. The Elite Medic's Pulse Grenade, that one that would disrupt you and hurt your health, it no longer disrupts. It also has a smaller radius, and you can see it better. It's more of a red glow, so that's pretty cool. It's nice that won't disrupt. It'll still drain your health, but you'll be able to use your skills. They decreased the damage of veteran, elite, and named NPCs, as well as greatly decreased melee damage of all tank NPCs, and moderately decreased melee damage of all non-tank NPCs. That's pretty good news. You're not going to get one-shot by their melees anymore, like their hunters or something. And I'm curious how much they decrease the damage of the veteran, elite, and named NPCs. Control point officers. This is really important. The control point officers now wear pants. I didn't know that they weren't wearing pants, but yes, they all wear pants now. And that's a cool change. They also decreased thrower NPCs' accuracy with grenades. It says that they are no longer professional baseball pitchers or cricket fielders. So they aren't going to be throwing grenades at your face anymore, I hope. Because they were pretty crazy. Their aim with those grenades was really, really good. Let's see what else we've got here. Open world changes. Control point difficulty is now clearly communicated. Let's see here. Let's show you what I'm talking about. Control points. See, there's a number 1 here. And there's little lines connecting control points. This one's over here. That'll +1 it. This is how you level up control points. I'm sure most people already know this, but like this one here, we could get to level 4 by completing this, this, and this. But now when it levels up to 4, it's supposed to say like, you know, heroic. 3 would be challenging, 2 would be hard, and 1 would be, you know, not hard. So that's kind of cool to just kind of clarify it. And that way when you do the level 4 heroic ones, you will be guaranteed those 500 gear score drops. The civilian officer in these control points will now revive you. So that's kind of cool. They can actually revive you. It's really nice for solo players that they can have one of those officers revive them now. It says that the patrols and convoys are signaled more clearly during the takeovers. And you can also select the civilian takeover icon on the map as a respawn option. As long as the boss has not spawned the enemy boss of the thing. So if you die, rather than having to respawn at like a safe house and run back there, you can spawn on your reinforcements. That's really cool, especially for solo players. And a new change when Tidal Basin is up, there's going to be Black Tusk Warhound convoys carrying gear and weapons. So that's pretty cool. We'll see new convoys there. Recalibration has been changed. It is awesome now, guys. Let me just show you, for instance, like on this backpack, this crit chance here. It's 2.5 right now. We can add crit chance here. Instead, it's capping out. This one's taken all 10.5, and it's only using 72 points of the recalibration score. There is limits. To hit those limits, you're going to need some really good gear and some really good gear that you're recalibrating from, like good rolls. So as you can see here, changing this 2.5 crit chance to 10.5, I still have more room, which means I could probably put around 14.5 crit chance on this. I don't think I have a backpack with that much, so I can't even test out what it's going to allow me. But that's really cool. Armor hardly even touches it. 27,000 armor, it's at 63, so we should be able to roll as much armor as you possibly could fit on there. Really good news. This chest used to be capped, so this was a gear score, not this one. Where's my other chest that I want to show you guys? This used to be gear score 450 when I originally found it. I then recalibrated it to crit chance. It capped at 5.5, and it put it up to gear score 465. Your recalibrations that upped your gear score will now be removed. It'll be back to 500 if you had 515s or 450s if you had 465s. And that plus 15 will actually go towards your recalibration score. So now this used to be capped at 5.5, but check this out. I can put 13 weapon damage. It is actually capped. This weapon damage is 13.5, so this chest could be capped out there. 15 crit chance, it's not capped. I can add more than 15 crit chance. I think I have a 16.5 in my stash somewhere, and that's what I plan on putting on this. And if I can get a roll that's even higher than that, it looks like it'll let me, because this is only plus 70. Still got 30 more to go. So it looks like this will probably let me put, 18 crit chance or something, 19 crit chance on it, if that's even a possible find. So that's really good news, guys. The recalibration is great. However, oops. I just clicked off screen again. Might have lagged the game there. Sorry about that for the video. But, however, apparently in conflict and normalized PvP, the things that you choose to recalibrate in your attributes don't take effect. So that really sucks. If you're using a crit build in conflict and you're 60 crit, but the only way you got there was re-rolling crit chance on like your chest and your backpack and things, you're not going to be even close to 60 crit anymore. My arm is tweaking out in this game. So keep that in mind if you're wanting to do, you know, some conflict or normalized PvP, that you're not going to want to re-roll attributes that are, you know, really integral to your build. And I think that needs to get changed. Like, I don't want to go into conflict with, you know, 60 crit and then look at my gear and I have 35. That's awful. Like, that should not happen. So they need to figure out something about that. It's just going to confuse people. You're going to have to basically have a very specific loadout just for conflict that doesn't re-roll things that you would normally re-roll. Keep that in mind, guys. Let's see. Rewards. This is huge, guys. This is huge news. Let me just go upstairs to the vendor and show you where you want to go. It is up here. It says that all 3 weeklies are supposed to give blueprints, but there's only 2 weeklies right now that are giving them. Make sure you do them today because they're getting reset again. They reset Monday, yesterday, and they have a timer for only 1 day, 15 hours. So they're getting reset again. They're getting reset again in a day and a half, and they are both rewarding blueprints. This weekly cleaning house project, as well as the weekly True Sons Manhunt project. That is also giving a blueprint. The Dark Zone one is not giving a blueprint, and maybe what's happening is when we get the raid, we might be getting the castle finally. The castle settlement might get unlocked. I'm not sure, but that would make sense when they said, you know, that we're going to be getting 3 weeklies that award blueprints. The only weeklies that give the blueprints right now are the settlements, and that third one we still haven't been able to properly unlock as far as I know.
We've got what we need, but thanks.
So, oh, someone in my chat is saying if you do the campus projects, there is another blueprint. So keep that in mind. Do those. You only have a day and a half to do them, and apparently you can get another blueprint after you finish your campus one. I'm not sure about the theater, but someone in my chat on Twitch is letting me know that the campus one awarded him another weekly after he completed it that also is giving a blueprint. Plus, there's a new thing daily. It's called Daily Shade Requisition. So you just throw some shade at this vendor, and she will give you blueprints every day. All you have to do is donate steel, polycarbonate, and electronics. That's like nothing. I'm going to do it right now. I wanted to save this so that I could show you guys, but here we go. Let's see what we get. I hope I get something awesome. This is really easy. There we go. And what do I get? Please give me something awesome. Crit chance scope, 762. Yeah, we got a M44 blueprint. That's totally what I wanted. But, yep, you can hear it in my voice. I am ecstatic right now. Really, really excited. I can't believe I got what I've always wanted in this game. Finally, I can craft that M44. I've been trying forever. Yeah, I couldn't have done it without you I couldn't have done it without you either, man. Thank you so much for that really useful blueprint. I'm gonna go craft it up right now since I'm just really, really excited. Seriously, I'm like really excited. I've heard that there is a new change here. Let's find out. Let's go craft this. Let's craft this amazing blueprint that we just got. I can't wait to see how good it is. Custom M44 blueprint. Here we go. Let's craft this up. Let's see how it rolled. Can't wait. Oh my god, it's amazing. I'm just kidding. This is not what I wanted, and I just wasted all my resources crafting this thing. But I want to do a test here. Before, you could not recalibrate crafted items or their talents or attributes. Someone told me you could. So we're going to find out right now. Let's see if we can recalibrate this. Before you could... I used to want to, like, you know, craft things to supplement a talent. Like, say you need a talent and you don't have it. You could try crafting it and get that talent. It was fake news, guys. Fake news. Here's the M44. It cannot be recalibrated. So I was told fake news. That's really sad. And there's no... This Model 700 was not crafted, but since I have no other items with stats that could transfer over to this, that also means you cannot transfer the stats from the stuff either. So that really sucks. I was told fake news. I'm glad I tested it out and wasted my resources on that. But hey, what do you know? Okay, so they changed some skills. Assault drone. It'll now actively look for a target once it loses its current target. Or more actively. So apparently it won't just be all like, just standing there. Defender drone. This is a huge one for PvP, guys. Defender drone will now start draining quickly after a shot has been deflected. I haven't tested it out, but I heard it only lasts like a couple of seconds or something after you shoot the defender drone. So that's really good news for people that hated that thing in PvP. I know I did. I felt like I was forced to use the thing, and hopefully it just kind of sucks and isn't really used anymore. That would be great. The chem launcher that we all use, pretty much everyone I think uses chem launcher. It does not stack anymore. So the only reason to have multiple charges would be, I guess, if you're healing other teammates with it, which I've only seen happen a couple of times in my life. So chem launcher, it didn't get buffed. I was hoping they were going to buff the base heal amount a little bit. Maybe like send it to 60,000 or something, 70,000, but nope. It is still the same amount of heal, and only one at a time will heal you. You can stack them, but you'll only get the benefit from one. So keep that in mind. As far as I know, the other chem launchers will still stack. Like you could shoot multiple of the other ones, and they should still stack. Reviver Hive, they said they fixed more occurrences of it not reviving, so hopefully that's nice. And they increased the revive time slightly. It takes a little bit longer. So that kind of sucks. But hopefully it works more often. Now, talents. Talents got some big changes, guys. Some of them I was expecting, some of them I wasn't. Sure, a lot of you already know. Berserk got changed. Berserk is now 7 or more reds. And you have to have a shotgun, SMG, or assault rifle like before. Actually, no. Before, I think you could just run Berserk. Right? I'm pretty damn sure you could just run it. But maybe I'm tripping. But it takes 7 or more now. 7 or more reds instead of 5. So that is important. If you're running Berserk, you might not have it unlocked anymore. Now, people used to pair this up with Strained, and that was what was really, really strong on the crit builds. They said that they were going to make Strained be 5 or less, or 4 or less, or whatever. I think it was 5 or less, but they didn't. Strained actually has no requirement. Strained got nerfed. It's 5% crit damage every 10% of your armor, so you get a total of 50% crit damage with no armor, instead of 200 like it used to be. But it doesn't have a requirement, so you can actually still pair up Strained with Berserk, which I have an assault rifle crit build that is based on it, and it looks like it's going to be pretty good. So don't worry, submachine gun builds, they aren't going to be as effective as they used to be, but they're definitely going to be more effective than they were on the PTS, because I know on the PTS they were really bad, and I think they realized that they were over-nerfing the build. Berserk also got hit. I forgot to show you guys. It is half as effective now. It used to be 100% damage that you could get. Now, it's 50%. So it's 10% every 20% depleted. Total of 50% damage instead of a total of 100. So now we're looking at 50% weapon damage and 50% crit damage with Berserk and Strained active. Versus before, it was 200 crit damage and 100% weapon, which was absurd. So I know people might be upset, but I think that's a much better balance, and just be grateful that we can use Strained and Berserk together. Let's see, what else did they change? They changed a bunch of stuff. I'm not going to cover everything. If you're curious about all of the changes to talents, check out the patch notes. I'll have them linked in the description of the video. Unbreakable is now 11 blues. I know we weren't sure if it was going to be 8 or 11. It went through 2 different phases, but it's 11 blues. Bloodsucker in the patch notes says it's 11 reds. It also said that in the PTS patch notes, but it's actually 11 blues. It's not 11 reds. So keep that in mind. Clutch got a big change, guys. This is the hugest change to the crit builds that everyone was running. Clutch now requires 4 or less blues. So there's a very, I'm talking very high chance that your current PvP clutch build won't be working at the moment, and you're going to need to rechange your stuff around to be 4 or less. It's not that hard to do. I changed mine around. Let me show you here. PvP AR build here. I've got a 3-12-3 here. I could add some more red somewhere. I just don't have any slots for it. But this one's pretty nice. Wait, this is a lie. It's not 3-12-3. I'm like, wait, what? This is a 8-4-3. Sorry. 8-4-3 build. It's nearly max crit chance, and I just need to roll more health on certain slots right now. I haven't re-rolled my stuff. I haven't re-rolled assault rifle onto the gloves, but I've got it all prepped and ready. So there is still builds out there that can run clutch with full crit chance, even with ARs. Especially because now you can re-roll, like this chest is going to be, 16.5 crit chance. So it's huge. Backpacks can roll a bunch of crit chance. It's going to be a 2-piece, 2 Patriots PvP crit build there. Other changes, let's see here. Entrenched, really awesome knee pads for marksman rifles and DMRs. They got buffed. Let's see here. They are now 10% of your armor instead of 5%. Every headshot from cover, 10% of your armor. That's amazing. That's huge. I don't know if I would ever use that over patience myself, but patience also got changed. It got reduced by 1, 6 or more blues instead of 7 or more blues, which is a good thing. But then it got a slight nerf here. It used to be 5% every second if you were in cover for 3 seconds. It's now 5 seconds of being in cover until it starts. So there's a 2-second difference in how long it takes until you start gaining your armor. I myself, even with a DMR build, I think I would rather run patience because you can be behind cover getting your health back. With Entrench, you have to be exposed. But you could definitely get more armor hitting your shots with Entrench. It really just depends. But that's a great buff to Entrench. Surgical got nerfed. Surgical used to be 8 crit chance. It's now 5 crit chance. That kind of sucks. But it's at least better than critical or whatever that got nerfed from 8 crit damage to 5, which makes no sense because we can have 5 weapon damage, and who the hell would want 5 crit damage over 5 weapon damage? Nobody. That's who. Let's see. Spotter on the mask got buffed. Used to be 10%. It is now 20%. I don't have one on me to show you, but it did get buffed. Unfortunately, when I tested Spotter prior to the patch, the only people that got benefits from Spotter were the people that actually pulsed. You couldn't run Spotter with someone running pulse and get the benefit if the enemies were pulsed. I haven't tested it in the patch to see if that's still the case, but I assume it is. So that kind of sucks. It's only useful if you're running pulse yourself. Unstoppable Force got changed pretty drastically. You can no longer pair this with clutch either because it does still require 7 or more. It got nerfed, but it's not as big of a nerf as people think because we have so much more armor, or the potential to have so much more armor. Killing an enemy now grants 2% weapon damage for every 25,000 max armor. It used to be 2% for every 10,000 max armor, but yeah, so it's a pretty big overall nerf to it, but it won't be as big as you think as long as you stack as much armor as possible. I don't think you'll ever be able to get, the 50% damage that we were getting by stacking armor, because you would need a ton. I think you would need, 500,000 armor or something for that? I don't know. My math is bad, but I don't think we'll ever be able to get to the point that we used to. But if you spec maximum amounts of armor, you will still get a huge damage buff. So this talent is not destroyed. It's still very useful. But yeah, it did get hit. Weapon talents. Frenzy got changed. Let's see if we have a Frenzy gun to show you. Frenzy got a pretty big change. Do we have one? It doesn't look like I have a Frenzy LMG to show you. But the way it works now is for every 10 bullets in magazine capacity, you gain 2% rate of fire and 2% weapon damage for 5 seconds when reloading from empty. So the bigger the magazine, the more of a benefit of rate of fire and weapon damage you're going to get. If you have a 100 round magazine, you're going to be getting 20% rate of fire, 20% weapon damage. That's really good. Now, if you have like the 35 round magazine on that plus extra, you're going to be sitting at like, 150 rounds or more. I forget how many you get, and that will buff it even more. So that's really good. However, if you're trying to use Frenzy on your L86 or, your MG5, you're not going to be getting nearly as much rate of fire or weapon damage. Keep that in mind. It could still work okay maybe with an MG5 that rolled extra and had the 35 round mag, but who knows? I don't think I'll be using it. I believe it also still requires 4 or less blues. It doesn't say it on the patch notes, but I don't have one in my stash to actually look. Killer on weapons is now a lot better. It used to require a crit kill and it would give you crit chance, which made no sense because you actually had to have high crit chance to make a benefit from killer. It is now crit damage. So if you get a kill with a crit, you get 30 crit damage for 5 seconds. And that's pretty okay. It'll be useful in these builds that require a lot of reds. So keep that in mind. It could be a good crit chance weapon, or a good, weapon skill for increasing. But I don't think it really is, because even with 60 crit chance, you have a 40% chance per kill to not have any benefit. So it just doesn't seem that great to me. But if you're speedrunning through PvE content, it's definitely going to be better than Strained. Keep that in mind. Killer will definitely be better than Strained for PvE content. Measured got a huge buff. Measured is actually one of the better talents in the game now. I'm pretty excited about it because Measured used to be like the worst talent in the game. It actually made you do less damage than you did without it. Let me find a measured gun. Where is my measured gun? I know I've got one, but it might be in my stash, it looks like. That kind of sucks. Let's just check here real quick. Otherwise, I'm going to have to just read it to you. Yeah, I do not have a measured, but measured now grants 20% rate of fire and negative 15% weapon damage in the top half of the magazine. The bottom half of the magazine is now negative 20 rate of fire and plus 30 weapon damage. That is awesome. That means that the time to empty your magazine is the same now than if you didn't have any bonus. It's plus 20, minus 20, first half, second half. But then you get a total of 15% weapon damage gain throughout the magazine. The first half you lose negative 15. The second half you actually gain plus 30, which is pretty cool. Some people might even opt to run like the Sweet Dreams, and you could keep your magazine in that big weapon damage buff, but then you're losing out on the rate of fire. So I don't know if that will be worth it. But overall, Measured is a decent talent now for high red builds. It might actually work pretty good in like the submachine gun or AR crit builds instead of running Strained. But Strained ends up, when your health is low, being 30% damage increase. So I think Strained is definitely going to be the better bet for that classic clutch build that people run. Preservation, which is what I'm running in the raid, it got buffed. Preservation is really, really good now, but it requires 7 or more blues. But killing an enemy now repairs 10% armor over 5 seconds. Killing an enemy in the head repairs 20% armor over 5 seconds. It used to be over 3 seconds, but it was, half as much. So this is really good change. I'm really happy about that. In PvP, meaning all the PvP other than the ODZ, it is 5% armor over 3 seconds, and headshots 15% armor over 3 seconds. So keep that in mind. Let's see here. Oh, I know I talked about Unbreakable, but I don't know if I told you guys they changed it to 70% of the max armor instead of 25. And in the ODZ, you do get 70%. In any other PvP conflict or normalized, it's only 25%. So that's what I'm running in the raid is Unbreakable. I think it's going to be amazing. And the cooldown prior to the patch was 2 minutes, where it could happen again. Someone told me they think it might be lower now, but probably not. Unhinged got changed. Some people might call it a nerf, but I actually call it a buff. They lost 5% weapon damage, and they gained 10% weapon handling. So your gun will handle a lot better now. It used to be negative 35. So for the hip fire guys, this is a nerf. They lost 5% weapon damage, which is hardly noticeable. And, you know, the hip fire guys, they didn't care about weapon handling because they're just running around hip firing. But for people that actually fire their LMGs, this is a great change. Anyone that cries about this change should probably, I don't want to say it, but you can just imagine like the worst thing you could think of, and that's probably what they should do. But yeah, it's good, and I think we're going to see a lot of hip fires in the dark zone now, unfortunately. But we'll see. I'm really curious how the dark zone feels now. Let's see here. I'm not seeing anything other major as far as weapon talents. You can check. I didn't cover all of them. You can check out the full patch notes. There's a link in the description of this video. But here's another cool change, guys. They buffed exotics, all of them. Even the Nemesis got a buff, guys. There is mods on them. You can't change them. But Nemesis gained 35% headshot damage and 15 crit damage and 15% damage to elites and 10% reload speed. But wait, there's not any more. That is what they have now. That's really awesome. Nemesis did get buffed. Now, the base damage of all of the other exotic weapons got buffed. Chatterbox now does quite a bit of damage. I'm going to put together a PvE Chatterbox build. I'm pretty excited about it. Chatterbox got a huge buff. Its weapon damage got increased by a lot. Its crit chance is now on scope and muzzle. We get plus 15 crit chance from the scope and muzzle. So instead of 14.5 base crit, we're now getting 29.5 base crit chance with no mods in the gear attributes compared to what we used to have. That's great. Plus, it's got 10% reload speed and 15% weapon handling. Overall, that's a huge change. The other gun that got a huge buff is the Pestilence. This Pestilence that I have used to be like 4,000 base damage. It's now 15,000. It's not so weak that you're not going to kill anything anymore. It's not quite as weak as, or it's quite as strong as some of the other guns. But, I mean, it's only missing 5,000 damage compared to this Mark 46 that I have. And it also got buffed in its skills here. After hitting the same enemy 10 times, they're inflicted with Plague of Outcasts. If they die with Plague of Outcasts, they leave a cloud for 10 seconds that deals 400% weapon damage per second to anyone inside of it and inflicts them with Pestilence. So when they die, it will happen as well. This is going to be really good for the raid, I think. I think this will pair up great with True Patriots. I have a feeling we're going to have people running this in the raid with True Patriots. 2 people with Pestilence and 2 people with True Patriots. I think is going to be great. I'm definitely going to encourage our True Patriot guys to get the Pestilence and run it. We're going to test it out probably today and tomorrow, see how well it works. But this is great. I'm actually really happy with that. It seems like that's going to be a good change. Now, the other thing is the debuff reduces healing received by 50% for 10 seconds. That's not that huge, unless in the raid they're getting healed. That would be huge. In PvP, it's I guess would be cool, but I don't think this would really work that great in PvP. Whenever an enemy with Pestilence would be downed, they are instead instantly killed, and the debuff is removed to the enemy. Debuff is removed if the enemy is repaired to full armor. So, there we go. Its holstered talent also gives you 20% armor whenever you're affected by bleed, blind, or burn. So, keep that in mind. I think that's pretty sweet. Liberty got buffed. I don't have mine crafted yet, but the optic is 10 crit chance, the magazine's 15% damage to elites, the muzzle's 15% stability, and the rail is 15% rate of fire. The Merciless, which is the semi-automatic explosive one, got 10% accuracy, 15% reload, 20% stability, and 20% handling. Sweet Dreams got some buffs, nothing crazy. But yeah, if you want to check all those out, look at the detailed patch notes. They are huge, and there's just too much to really cover. Conflict got changed. The boosts, you know, those really annoying boosts, they're reduced by 50%. So that's great. Those things were ridiculous, and I hated them. There's some balance changes for normalization. Unfortunately, our recalibrated stats are going to revert to their base level. That really sucks. So keep in mind, if you have builds that are recalibrated, chances are your conflict version of that build is going to suck really bad, especially if it's a crit chance build. That's where you'll notice it the most. There is a new PvP damage modifier. They didn't say what it is, but I heard it was 40. It used to be 70. It just says they reduced it to increase time to kill. And increased time to kill means it takes longer. I know some people get confused. I'm not sure why, but yeah, that's what that means. They also added a skill modifier, so skills do more damage in PvP. So that's pretty cool. Let's see here. Dark Zone. Contaminated loot. Bosses now guarantee contaminated loot drop. I think they always did, but maybe not. Yada, yada, yada. Bag size is increased to 10. That's huge. Bag size increased to 10 for the Dark Zone. It used to be 5. And that is great news. They reduced the brackets in the Dark Zone, so we should see more people. They reduced the damage output on NPCs, but they increased the time to kill, meaning that they buffed their health but reduced their damage. They also added a short cooldown to landmarks. I know sometimes while I was picking up the loot, the landmark would spawn again. The rogue cooldown got removed. There's still a 5-second cooldown from when you tried to toggle it last, but there's none of that walking out after you died and being on cooldown for 2 minutes or whatever the hell it was. Thieves' Den will allow you to switch weapons, so you can put the, shock bullets on whatever you want. And Occupied Dark Zone has a different PvP damage modifier and a different damage modifier. I'm not exactly certain what this is, but hopefully the Occupied Dark Zone has a faster time to kill. I'm really hoping that it stayed at like 70 and the other one went to 40. That would be a great change because I prefer the Occupied Dark Zone. The changes to Manhunt and the Occupied are not in the game yet. And they reduced Dark Zone XP loss to 35% of the XP in your current Dark Zone rank when you get killed. So that is good news. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. There's some bug fixes. And yeah, I think I covered everything that I thought was really important. Let me know if you guys found any other undocumented changes that aren't in the patch notes. And don't forget to check out my raid build video. This is what I'm going to be running in the raid Thursday at noon. We're in a competition for the raid. Hopefully we win a lot of money. That would be awesome. But regardless, it's going to be fun. So check me out live, Twitch TV/Inigo Montoya. I'm live every day. And Thursday we will be doing that raid completion Twitch Rivals challenge. So thank you guys so much. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And really appreciate you watching this video. Later, guys.